Welcome to our channel. Today, let's revisit the Seagate incident that unfolded in August 2020. At that time, the US Department of Commerce implemented new regulations, strengthening controls on products exported to companies like Huawei. However, during the effective period of these regulations, Seagate still sold over $1.1 billion worth of 7.4 million hard drives to Huawei. The US Department of Commerce announced a $2 billion fine on Seagate, additionally expressing intentions to restrict Seagate's export privileges. This incident garnered widespread attention in the industry and media, with many praising Seagate's courage and commitment. Why did Seagate choose to supply Huawei despite the fine? What are the consequences of Seagate's continued supply to Huawei, and what are the profound impacts and significance of this decision? Seagate Technology, a major player in hard drive, disk, and read-write head manufacturing globally, boldly supplied over $1.1 billion worth of hard drives to Huawei during a period when the US Department of Commerce intensified export controls on products destined for companies like Huawei. Seagate's decision, despite facing a $2 billion fine and export privilege restrictions, reflects its resolute stance on the side of commercial interests. Why did Seagate make such a determined choice, even at the risk of hefty penalties? What is the underlying business logic and story? Firstly, commercial interests were a key driving force behind Seagate's decision. As the world's largest communication equipment manufacturer, Huawei's enormous demand for hard drives presented a substantial business opportunity for Seagate, as it became Huawei's exclusive supplier in the hard drive sector. Huawei holds a commanding 44.5% share in the global market, offering Seagate significant business prospects within their collaboration. Political pressure also played a role in Seagate's considerations. In recent years, the US government's crackdown on Huawei has left many companies facing a dilemma. On one hand, companies are reluctant to lose Huawei as a significant client, and on the other hand, they are hesitant to offend the US government. In this context, Seagate chose to adhere to its own business logic, bravely standing on the side of commercial interests, a decision that is not easy under the current international trade conditions. As an example, Seagate is not the only company taking risks. Similar situations have been witnessed among several US tech giants. Qualcomm explicitly stated its commitment to long-term supply of 4G chips to Huawei. Intel and Nvidia introduced special edition processors for Chinese customers, and some software giants developed special edition EDA software tools. This indicates that, facing the vast potential of the Chinese market, more US companies are choosing to face challenges head-on and seek collaboration with Chinese enterprises. Secondly, Seagate's decision demonstrates its commitment to ethical principles. In the business world, pursuing profits is undoubtedly a company's primary duty. However, balancing profit pursuit with ethical principles has always been a challenge for businesses. Seagate's willingness to accept significant fines to supply Huawei is a testament to its commitment to business ethics. This commitment sets an example for other companies and emphasizes the importance of ethical considerations in the business world. In the current complex global business environment, companies need to find a balance between economic benefits and ethical principles in their decision-making processes. Seagate's actions undoubtedly provide a reference for other companies, encouraging them to focus on ethical considerations. Looking ahead, Seagate's decision prompts us to question the viability of the US government's strategy of suppressing Chinese companies like Huawei. While Seagate faces a $2 billion fine, its decision to persist in supplying Huawei indicates a rational choice based on commercial interests. This may foreshadow increasing resistance from more companies when faced with the US government's push, as they make decisions according to their own business interests rather than blindly complying with political pressures. On the other hand, the US seems to underestimate Huawei's resilience and strength. Huawei has demonstrated formidable competitiveness and innovation in various fields such as 5G, chips, cloud computing, and smartphones. Under the leadership of Ren Zhengfei, Huawei has successfully evolved, breaking through technologies monopolized by the US, including operating systems and EDA tools. In the fields of quantum chips and photonic chips, Huawei has achieved significant breakthroughs. Following the US attempts to stifle Huawei, the Chinese semiconductor industry has embarked on a path towards autonomy. With strong support from the government, Chinese enterprises are narrowing the gap with the West in various sectors like CPUs, GPUs, and hard drives. Once domestic substitution is achieved, opportunities for US companies to ship their products will become even more elusive. Hence, it is easy to understand why Seagate Technology dares to defy US rules, preferring to be fined than to cut off supplies to Huawei. This is a challenge to US hegemony and a trust in the Chinese market. It can be predicted that the decline of US hegemony is inevitable. Although the technology competition is not over, the outcome is already evident, and no one can stop China's rise. Those who cut off supplies will ultimately reap what they sow. For Huawei, Seagate's supply is undoubtedly a positive signal. This means that Huawei can continue to receive high-quality hard drive products and services from Seagate, while also gaining increased flexibility and options in its supply chain. In the midst of intensifying global tech competition, the stability and reliability of the supply chain are crucial for Huawei. However, Seagate's move also brings potential risks for itself. The US government's crackdown on Huawei has not ceased, and more severe sanctions against Seagate may be implemented in the future. This could negatively impact Seagate's business in the US and international markets. Furthermore, other hard drive manufacturers may sense Seagate's support and intensify their determination to supply Huawei, thereby escalating competition in the entire industry. Moreover, Seagate's actions have prompted reflections on US hegemony from the outside world. With the rise of Chinese tech enterprises, especially significant progress in 5G, chips, and cloud computing, the US attempts to suppress Chinese companies seem to be losing effectiveness. Seagate's defiance of US rules and supply to Huawei challenges US hegemony. This reflects a changing global tech landscape, where China's strength and influence are gradually surpassing that of the United States. Finally, this event is expected to drive the diversification of the supply chain for the entire industry. Seagate's decision indicates that, when faced with political pressure, companies still have the potential to uphold business logic and strive for supply chain diversification. This is of positive significance for enhancing the resilience and sustainability of the entire industry. Additionally, it will encourage companies to focus more on ethical considerations, pushing business activities towards a more sustainable and responsible direction. In conclusion, Seagate Technology's decision to supply Huawei despite a $2 billion fine has sparked widespread attention, highlighting not only its commitment to interests on the business front, but also setting an example in terms of politics and ethical principles. This event may only represent the tip of the iceberg in the rise of Chinese technology and the changing global tech landscape. In the future, we can anticipate more companies facing challenges with courage and responsibility, upholding business ethics, and driving the industry towards a more sustainable and innovative direction. Lastly, let me summarize for our readers, hoping you've gained some insights and reflections. The Seagate Technology incident, where they chose to face a $2 billion fine to supply Huawei, provides profound insights and reflections for us. Firstly, it raises awareness about how companies balance economic interests and ethical considerations in business decision-making. Can companies, in the face of political pressure, bravely adhere to business logic and contribute to the diversification and sustainability of the supply chain? This is a thought-provoking question. Secondly, Seagate's decision illustrates the role and responsibility of companies in the global tech competition. In this highly interconnected era, Companies should not only pursue economic benefits but also focus on their social responsibilities and ethical commitments. Seagate's choice to continue supplying Huawei not only seeks commercial gains, but also sets a precedent for supply chain diversification and business ethics. Furthermore, this incident reflects changes in the global tech landscape, particularly the rise of Chinese tech enterprises. In this transformative moment, companies need to be more flexible and open, adept at dealing with the constantly changing international situation. For readers, does this stimulate your thinking about future trends in technology development? How should companies position themselves and navigate complex international relations in this era of globalization? Lastly, Seagate Technology's decision reminds us that the business world is not just black and white. It is full of complexity and variables. In the face of challenges, companies need to take risks, show courage, and maintain a commitment to business ethics. Does this inspire your thinking on how to balance various factors in business decision-making? In the complex and ever-changing business environment, how should companies find their own position and direction? With this opportunity, let's contemplate together, in an era of fierce global tech competition, how should companies find a balance between economic interests and ethical principles? How will this challenge shape the future business world? We hope this reflection process allows you to discover more fascinating aspects about business, technology, and ethics. Look forward to your thoughts and sharing. That concludes today's video. Stay tuned for the next exciting content. Goodbye for now.